But, you know, we had the World Sikh Organization on the show yesterday. They had a press conference in Ottawa. We learned a lot about, you know, the situation from Global News with Mel's friend and former boss Jagmeet Singh under very close surveillance by an agent of India with connections to a crime gang. I mean, this is where the collision happens. And they're pushing ahead with it, despite the revelations. There's still more than a dozen people in Canada under duty to warn protocols from the RCMP because they're in danger.
Yeah, this is outrageous. This is you know, we talk about sovereignty in our country. We have, our authorities in our country have accused a foreign country of being involved in the murder of a Canadian citizen on Canadian soil. You know, what does sovereignty mean if we're not going to enforce our own rules here? To me, it's outrageous that he was invited. The more and more I think about this, the more I read about Jagmeet Singh this week being under surveillance by the government.
Agents of the government,
agents
to be clear. Yeah, yeah.
For 18 months. Like, it's just, it's absurd. And I think it's a bad signal. I understand we need new trading partners. I understand we need to do this. But where do our values and our beliefs go in all of this conversation? How do we just open up like this? We didn't invite Premier Singh here.
Yeah, and you know, this is what I wonder about, Mel, because, you know, we've heard the real politic argument. We need to do it. 5th largest economy, #1 in population. The rest of the G7 has better relations with India for the most part than Canada does. But yet, here we are, right? You know, the members of the caucus don't necessarily like it. Certainly, a lot of Sikh Canadians, not all Sikh Canadians, are upset by this. I mean, what do you make? Even Pierre Poilievre said he understood the invitation and why it needs to happen. I mean, I know you don't because of your personal connection. Right?
I don't. I think right is right and wrong is wrong. And if a government is accused of killing a Canadian and accused of surveilling other Canadians, you're the Prime Minister of all Canadians. Done. That's no questions asked. The fact that we saw even more details come out this week is just, obviously, I'm devastated for my friend, but I shouldn't have to be devastated for my friend. I shouldn't. There's so many. You talked about 12 people still being on a duty to warn, and the duty to warn is your life is in danger.
Right. Yeah.
There's not really anything else we can do for you, and the fact that you know comes after business, I think is really problematic. We saw credit to a Bloc MP in the House this week say exactly that, you know, human rights comes after business for this Prime Minister, and I think that that's a really dangerous precedent to send. I think it's a dangerous message to send to Canadians. And again, if you are the Prime Minister, you need to stand up for Canadians, and that, to me, is the opposite of that. So that's harmful, I think, to a lot of people, not just Sikh Canadians. I think that's harmful to a lot of people who take sovereignty, that very seriously. So yeah, that's not good.
Greg, I give you the last word. We're going to take a quick break.
I want to be very careful. I notice a lot of Trump supporters on American TV shows. They just really get into the hyperbole. But I do want to remind folks that we were all pretty tense about the meeting between Prime Minister Carney and Donald Trump in the Oval Office. So, you know, as I said last week, I read the the comments from the press conference that the Prime Minister made about his approach to India, about the rule of law. We know that there are MPs. You just played the clip that were taken by surprise, not unhappy. That's a separate issue about staffing up permanently the PMO. There's that, you know, taking care of your own house sort of thing. But I am going to be interested to see. I mean, this is a calculation that the Prime Minister has made, and so far he seems to be very sure of himself around these calculations, and so I'm going to watch.
Yeah, it is an interesting one. Yeah, and you know, the voting in Brampton and different things like that in the election, it could have consequences there down the road if it doesn't work out.